Haiku the Robot is a pixel art Metroidvania released earlier this year in April of 2022. I backed it on Kickstarter in September of 2020, and like with most games I back on Kickstarter, I forgot about it. That wasn't until I was looking for a game to play on stream the other day. I figured a cute indie Metroidvania would be a good way to test out a genre I wasn't sure if I liked. My taste in games has broadened a lot since I started taking my ADHD meds, and with about 1,100 very positive reviews at time of writing, I was pretty sure I was in good hands. Hey everybody, Alaskan Beard here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Haiku the Robot. It's the first Metroidvania I've ever beaten, and although it was short, I thought it was worth making a little review video on. Let's start with the story, and to be honest, there's not much to it, but I'll summarize, with no spoilers, by saying it centers around the mystery of the world you literally fall into. The story is mostly told in the way of computer consoles you can interact with scattered around the world, as well as the occasional NPC you encounter, and it definitely struck me how much social commentary and how dark the tone is given how cute the game generally is. I think the devs created a nice juxtaposition between feeling and mood and the art style. And before we talk about the art style, let's talk technical details for a second. The game doesn't have much in the way of settings, but it supports VSync and it lets you set a frame rate limit up to 165 Hz. There's also a pixel perfect mode that helps with pixel stretching, and it's on by default. But turning it off does something magical. It enables ultra-wide support. That's right, a small studio's first game has ultra-wide support, something a lot of AAA games refuse to do, and yeah, performance-wise, there's not anything really to talk about. It's a small game that runs at whatever frame rate I let it on my 3090. One ruined segue later, let's talk about the art, which is the best part of the game in my opinion. You play as an adorable little ball-shaped robot that wields a golden chip-esque sword, and you get to adventure through multiple distinct biomes with unique enemies and environments in each. It's hard to summarize an entire game's worth of art, especially when that's one of the game's main draws, but you're seeing it on screen, so I'll just let it speak for itself, and I will mention a couple high points for me. Aside from just generally loving the art, the best part was the use of depth. There were multiple points in the game that had particles floating around and objects in the background and foreground, and it really added to a sense of immersion. It feels weird to say about a pixel art game, but that's probably the best way to describe it, immersion. Other than the depth, my other favorite element is the enemy design. I thought most of the enemies were really creatively designed and grounded enough in reality to be recognizable, but most things had their own unique twist on it, like this futuristic and terrifying lawnmower. Now let's talk about sound. In summary, it's pretty good. Not the most noteworthy, but I don't think I have any complaints. The music is pretty low-key and it's good, and it helps carry you through the game. Where I was actually impressed though was the sound design itself. There's quite a few sound effects in the game, and they aren't all great, like this lava bucket that drops lava as an attack, and maybe it's just me, but it's bad, unpleasant, not fun to listen to. The stereo in the game, though, adds to the immersion again. Hearing attacks on your left or right seems like a small thing to mention, but when it's not there, it's something that you definitely notice is missing. So is there anything else to talk about? Well, I do have a couple complaints about the game, and they definitely did detract from my overall opinion, but they aren't bad enough to skip the game entirely over. The first and most glaring issue I have with the game is the difficulty. It's not too difficult or too easy, but there's a couple huge difficulty spikes towards the end of the game, and I think it really detracts from an otherwise fun endgame. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with hard enemies, especially boss fights, but the final boss in the game is just so different and more frustrating than the rest of the game. You go from being able to get 2 to 4 hits and then dodging an attack, maybe 2, and then getting another damage phase, to multiple attacks where you can't do any damage, to a phase where you can do 2 hits at best, and that's with a weapon that has speed upgrades, maybe every few attacks. It felt like a sharp turn towards like the Souls-esque turn-based combat where you hit, dodge, 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 etc., hit again, and it just felt really out of place since there's nothing else like that in the rest of the game. It's just the final couple bosses. My second complaint, which was much less frustrating, was with not knowing how to progress the game. As I said, I haven't really played Metroidvanias, and I know exploration is part of the package, And I definitely haven't played any modern Metroidvanias specifically, so this might be intentional, but between having to explore to unlock the map itself and some areas of the map being a little unclear if there's more to explore, like they outlined the walls of the area and there was just a couple places while I was playing that it was kind of hard to tell if there was more there. And yeah, it was just not a fun time for about an hour, and I was starting to get frustrated without knowing what to do next. And the whole time I had a modifier equipped that showed me areas of the map that I needed an ability to explore, but without the aforementioned map pieces, a couple places I just wasn't sure if I was supposed to be there, if I wasn't supposed to be there. Specifically, there's, how do I say this without being too spoilery? You need to get some armor that allows you to traverse an area. And if you get hit in that area, you can die immediately. So it makes exploration very challenging. So was I supposed to be there without this armor? Or was I supposed to get the armor and come back? Did I need the armor to progress the game before I could get the whatever was in that area? Or did I need to go to that area first in order to get the armor? It was just a little frustrating. And like I said, that might just be a Metroidvania thing, or it might just be this game, or it might just be something I don't like about Metroidvanias. And I'm not sure what the answer to this is, but I think maybe adjusting how the map works could be one solution. Keep the map reveal mechanic, but maybe give a very basic layout before you reveal, just kind of like outlines or rooms, or maybe even let the markers that you get in the game work for like NPCs and save points, etc. Or maybe just steal from Elden Ring a little bit and show where the map reveal points are on the otherwise hidden map. They show the where the map pickup places are, but the rest of the area around it is just completely dark until you get the map pickup. I do also think that if there were more fast travel points, that I wouldn't have been as annoyed with being lost, because I ended up not wanting to explore some of the areas that I thought maybe I was missing out on objects there that might let me progress, simply because they were on the opposite side of the map for me and I hadn't found a fast travel location there. There were a couple times where there just weren't fast travel locations available, but there was also a couple where, hey, I just didn't have the map, didn't know that there was a room there, and I didn't check it out. And I know that seems like a pretty low note to end my experience with the game on, but I really did enjoy my time with it, and it's made me want to check out some other more classic Metroidvanias. I might hold off on some bigger games like Hollow Knight for a while, but I think I'll probably work my way up to them, and that's thanks in big part to my time with Haiku. It's also just so darn beautiful, like good enough that as long as the gameplay wasn't actually bad, I would still say it's worth playing. I finished Haiku the Robot with 93% in-game completion, and I do think I will probably go back and 100% it, but I haven't done it yet. 21 out of 42 Steam achievements and 8.6 hours played, which again I expect may increase. I definitely enjoyed my time, and I said right when I finished it on stream that I'd probably give it a 7.5 if I was having a bad day, and an 8 if I was having a good day. So let's call it a 7.8 overall. If you want more content, I've started streaming on Twitch again, and you can follow me on Twitter or Mastodon, where I post some of my more day-to-day things like game collecting. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and give me a subscribe. My second complaint, which was